Ravens here. Elliot Chris rocking the Kansas City Chiefs hat. Jeff Ratcliffe as well. This is the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. We got a fun show on tap for you here, previewing Super Bowl 55. We are presented by Hornitos. Tequila, más tequila. Oh, you know, I love that stuff. It basically has replaced my blood. So all I have right now pumping through my veins is actually the love juice itself. So already packing a buzz, and this show's going to have a lot of that as well. We got a couple of special guests joining us. Tank Williams, a former Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings, and for a hot minute, New England Patriots player is going to be coming on with his favorite player props bet in the big game this weekend. The lovely and talented Sarah Perlman is also going to be joining the program as well with her pearls of wisdom, her own player props that she is firing off on, and we're going to decide whether or not we're going to fade or follow those selections. So we got a lot to get to here, but guys, there is no better way to start off a show that is sponsored by a fine liquor like Hornitos than to take a shot. So I've got my Hornitos Reposado poured right here. I believe you gentlemen also have your shots in front of you. So salute to you. Let's take a shot right now, then I'll explain why we're doing this. Oh, hell yeah. Listen, folks, screw your salt, screw your lime. If you're really a member of Team Huevos, that's how you do it. And it goes down ultra smooth. Thank you, Hornitos, for that. And, it's hitting me in all the right places already. This show's going to be damn good, gentlemen. All right, so the reason why we're going to take a shot is we're going to go deep on something that is plus odds right now, available at any one of the legal sports books across the country, and say, all right, I'm going to fire off a ticket on this and hope it's going to be cash money, and I'm going to be rolling in the green come Sunday night when the final horn sounds in Super Bowl 55. Jeff, let me come to you first, amigo. Who you taking a shot on?
Well, since we can be a little bit aggressive, I'm a conservative guy, all right, when it comes to player props, but I'm going to be aggressive with this one. And on some of the books right now, you do get these pre-packaged player prop parlays. So I found one I really like for Chris Godwin. This is over at Bet America right now. Chris Godwin, 100-plus yards and a touchdown at plus 575. That's what I like a lot about that right there. He has the better matchup out of the slot. We're going to highlight that throughout the course of the show here. He caught 8 of 9 targets against this team back in Week 12 for 97 yards, so he was close to that 100-yard threshold. And he scored 5 touchdowns in his last 6 games. Went over 100 last week. I think this has a good shot at hitting that plus 575.
Man, that's a hell of a line. I actually like that one quite a bit. He was so close in that first matchup against Kansas City, and a guy whose yards per route run 2.06 here in the postseason. So he's stretching the field a little bit more. Just got to apply the stickum, man. Got to apply the stickum. I think the warmer weather will do him service there in Tampa, unlike what he had in the NFC Championship in Green Bay. Elliot, your dissertation, sir. I know you got to defend your thesis here because you have like a 20-leg parlay? What do you got? Take a shot.
It's a 4-leg parlay, and I think your point on Chris Godwin drops is valid beyond just the Packers game, right? He dropped a touchdown against the Saints, and he dropped a touchdown against Washington as well. He's been incredibly featured in this offense, and he's the front runner or the most important part of this parlay that I have. I have Chris Godwin first touchdown. The Chiefs have been deferring. The Bucs have been getting the ball. I actually really like him at plus 600 for first reception, but that's a different bet. Chris Godwin first touchdown. Chris Godwin over 73.5 yards. Travis Kelce touchdown, and Travis Kelce over 97.5 yards. That pays out at 63 to 1. Now the first touchdown is why it gets a little dicey. Ooh. But if we go down the field and we score a touchdown, we're gonna start drinking some Hornitos and having some fun. So I actually did it the other way too, because it would kill me if Travis Kelce scored the first touchdown. That was only 43 to 1. But again, $100 wins $6,300 at FanDuel Sportsbook. It's a fun way to do the first touchdown. So again, Chris Godwin first touchdown, Chris Godwin over yards, Travis Kelce scores, and Travis Kelce over yards plus 6,300.
I think GameStop has better odds of getting back to $150 a share than you hitting that prop. But it's all about the first TD. That's the big hurdle that you need to cross. And if you score it, yeah, I think you're going to hit it, man. And chances are, and I apologize to the good people in New Jersey, if he does hit it, there could be streaking. There could be streaking. Hide to the women and children, shield your eyes, but it would be warranted for Elliott if he did cash that in. No comment.
I mean, you said if I get naked, that's going to be something that everyone needs to shield their eyes from. I'm hurt. I need to recover from that. I would hope that someone somewhere would be excited about it.
Hey, I just got pitched today, no lie, on a sponsorship for Noom. So somebody's trying to tell me something. So that's all I'm going to say there. All right, I'm going to take a shot. Mine's a lower threshold to cross. I think this is more doable. It's just simple. Tom Brady throws for 300 yards and Tampa wins. That's it. I got this at DraftKings at plus 325. I'm in on this. Because of the concerns on the offensive line right now for the Kansas City Chiefs and knowing how assertive, how aggressive, how trapping this Tampa Bay defensive line can be, whether collapsing pockets or swallowing running backs whole. This is going to be problematic for Patrick Mahomes. Like, he is a sensational. He is a galactic being. There's no question about what he can bring to the table. Remember the last time he went out was 462 yards and a hat trick of touchdowns. But no two games are necessarily ever the same. And the more I dwell on this, the more I think about, the more I think that Tampa Bay is going to win with a 40-something quarterback. Elliott loves that because I know he's got a long shot ticket that he fired off earlier in the season for Tampa to win the whole enchilada. So there's going to be some hedge life in there for him. But I think Tampa's going to win this thing. And if they do, Tom Brady's throwing for 300-plus yards, which he's done 8 times this season. So, again, at plus 325, I think that's believable. And that's what's really key with some of these, unlike Elliott's. Again, you need that Godwin first TD to strike, my man. And
I can't wait for him to do it. And you owe me a public apology because I'm going to demand one for saying this has no shot.
I need video evidence of you actually streaking. That's what I need.
No, you don't. We're not putting that on the internet.
Social media needs this. It will fuel me. It will sustain me. It will grow new life if people could see Elliott and his lily white ass running down the streets of New Jersey in celebration of him hitting a 66-1 parlay.
That's not going on the internet. You guys think KFC's still open, or?
I tell you what, Elliott would take down an entire bucket of fried chicken if that were the case. No doubt. Extra crispy, too. I'm telling you. All right. On that note, we're going to take a little siesta here on the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. Coming up next, you don't want to miss this segment. Tank Williams, former NFL great, a man that I've had a lot of shots of Hornitos with over the years, largely in Nash Vegas. It's going to be joining the program to take it to the bank. Stick around right here on FTN. Welcome back to the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. Brad Evans here, joined by Elliott Chris, not wearing a Jets hat, thank God. He's wearing an actual winning team in the Kansas City Chiefs. Jeff Ratcliffe and my favorite brother from another mother,
Yes.
Ebony and Ivory, is back, baby. Tank Williams, a man that played in the NFL. He actually played under Belichick, believe it or not, for a hot minute before the knee gave out. Also has a lot of stories tied to certain lakes in Minnesota during his days with the Vikings, the Tennessee Titans as well. He knows all the hot spots in Nashville. Former colleague of mine at Yahoo Sports, and a man, when I asked him, he played safety, who was the one dude coming downhill you would never want to tackle? He goes, bro, I'd be slapping at the heels of Jamal Lewis back in the day.
Monster dog. True story. Jamal Lewis, Corey Dillon, man, they were hell. Many concussions.
Yeah, and that was a business decision. And I'm going to take a little slide to the left and a little slappy slap at the heels,
right.
And I'm going to stay healthy and off the IR. Tank Williams with us here right now. So let's go and get into it. We got a specially crafted segment from my man Tank called "Take It to the Bank" with Tank. All right, gentlemen. So this is how it's going to work. Tank's going to tee us up on a favorite side, total, player prop, could be a novelty prop, could be whatever he's pulling out of his keister, whatever it is. He's going to throw it up, and then we're going to decide to fade or follow his selection. So hopefully Tank will not come tracking us down because, gentlemen, I've seen with his shirt off, he's still ripped.
Trouble.
So it's bad for us in our quarantine bods. Tank, your first prop in Super Bowl 55, what are you digging?
Man, let's do it, dog. I mean, obviously, I got to have a prop with Tommy Boy in it because if Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl, I mean, we got to have some action with him. So I'm going over 295 and a half pass yards, minus 115. And like, this is my thinking behind it. Like, I'm going with the Chiefs. So I assume the Chiefs are going to win it. Like, if you think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win, they're probably going to be run heavy. But if they get behind and have to throw the ball around a lot, I feel that, Brady's going to have to lean on Mike Evans, on Godwin, all those toys like that. And so, I understand that, he's only gone over in 9 out of 19 games this season. But at the same time, he's averaged 315 pass yards per game in the 9 Super Bowls that he's played. So I'm going with Brady trying to put the team on his back and get over that 295 and a half pass yard mark. So, boys, are y'all with me?
All right, I'll tee this up here for myself. I'll be the first. I'm actually going to follow you because we heard it earlier on the show. I mean, I'm already locked in on this, Tank. I've got Tom Brady hitting 300 yards and Tampa getting the win at plus 325. So, I like those odds there. Throw a Benji on it. Get 3 Benjis in return, along with an Andrew Jackson, soon to be Harriet Tubman, and an Abraham Lincoln as well. So I like my odds there. And, you look at Kansas City, he went way over this number in the first matchup back in week 12, 345 yards. I think it's going to be a laborious output, a lot of volume for him. And I know Kansas City's been rather robust defending the pass for much of the season, but still TB12, I think, is going to uncork in this one. High A dot. He's going to take those chances down the field. I actually locked in at this at a slightly lower number when it first came out at FanDuel. At 291 and a half, that was just too good to be true. So I hit the over and smashed it. But at 295 and a half, I'm following you all day, brother. I think that is a tremendous value still right now, especially if you're shopping around with the FTN Props Shop tool. Elliot, let's go to you next. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, I mean, listen, after you said that he might light me up because he's still ripped. I mean, I've got the body size of Jamal Lewis right now, so I don't know if he's going to go for the ankles, but I don't know what the rest of me actually looks like. I'm just pure numbers, but I'm with you guys. I think a great way to bet it is Tom Brady over 291 and the Chiefs to win, because it is on FanDuel. You can do that single game parlay, right? And then it allows you to have that correlation and tell that story. And now I get much better odds. I think that the one thing the Chiefs do a really good job of is taking away the deep ball. It'll be really interesting. Like you said, Brad, Tom Brady has taken a ton of deep shots. His arm strength is there this year. He's 43 years old. That avocado, ice cream, whatever it is, that's working for the man. But I think it's a proper line. If I had to pick a side, I would take the over. I do think that they're going to have a lot of success attacking the slot with Chris Godwin. I think he's going to be one of the big players for the Bucs in this game. So I like Tom Brady over 291 and a half yards.
Jeff, what do you think?
Well, I'm really conservative when it comes to player props in general, projections in general. It's kind of the running gag, the projections guy in me. But you know what? I look at this game, and I think Tank brings up a really good point. If they are playing from behind, they're not running the ball. It's not going to be 20 carries for Lenny and 15 for Ron Jones. This is going to be a game where they're going to be throwing. And you know what? I think if they have the lead, you're throwing. You don't make this mistake. You don't kick 2 stinking field goals against Patrick Mahomes. You just don't do it. So you got to keep throwing the football in this one. I am conservative, but I actually am going to follow him on this one, which is a little out of character for me. But I do like the over here. We saw what he did last time, as Brad mentioned. The A-dot, as we're talking about as well. Since week 10, since that debacle in week 9 against New Orleans, 10.4 yards downfield on average. That leads everybody in the league. This is a guy who, noodle arm. Nope. Wrong. Completely wrong. He's not Drew Brees. He's not late career Peyton Manning. He's not late career Brett Favre. He still can sling it, and he's going to do it in this game, so I'm taking that over. I'm following Tank.
Yeah, so he's the anti-Nate Sudfeld, in other words. So, yeah, I think that's a great call. Follows. We're all following Tank here, showing some brotherly love here out of the gate. All right, Tank, it's time to take it to the bank with your second prop. What is it there, hombre?
Well, I'm sticking with the Tom Brady narrative. I mean, I love how you brought up the avocado ice cream. I think he's actually having Alex Guerrero rub it on his chest and is throwing on him. So if he does that before the game, that means that my boy Mike Evans should easily go over 4 receptions at plus 100. And so, in the last matchup, he only had 3 receptions, 50 yards, but then 2 tugs. So what does that tell you? He likes to target him in the red zone already. Some of the other wide receivers got off a little bit more in the first game. So if you look at the gameplay, how they try to prep for the game, I imagine that, the game plan would be, hey, you're going to try to take away Godwin, you're going to try to take away the run game, maybe these tight ends. Let's go to the guy that we didn't go to in the first game, Mike Evans. And so when you look at it, Josh Allen had 3 wide receivers that went for 6 receptions or more. Baker Mayfield had 3 wide receivers that went for 4 receptions or more. So I'm liking the narrative of Tom Brady being able to get the ball to his best receiver, well, 1A or 1B, however you want to rate them, with Godwin and Mike Evans more than 4 times in this game. So I'm going with that, and I think that should pay easily for whether you're conservative or aggressive.
All right, my cousin, I hate to do this to you, Tank, but I'm fading you, brother. I'm taking the under. The 4.5 is too much, man. I think, Captain Hook's got to come into play, you mean, mateys. And I think he's going to hit either 3 or 4 receptions. And, he brought up a salient point. He had the 9 targets in the first game. You think, okay, if he can catch like half of that, essentially, he's got to hit the over or pretty close to it. He only had the 3 receptions. Now, I do like an anytime touchdown for Mike Evans. I fired off on that early at plus 130. I think that is a foregone conclusion. But Bashaud Breeland is a damn good cover corner. And a guy that's given up just a 58.8 catch rate to his assignments this season. Now, Evans got an enormous height advantage on him. And we know the field stretching abilities of Evans overall, but I think Brady's going to spread the love around a little bit here. I just worried about the hook more than anything else. I think he's going to be 4 smack dab right on the nose and going to have you crying tears in your beer in the end there, amigo. So give me the under. I'm fading you. Or, fade the noise. Yeah, take nose. Take nose. That's usually a profitable proposition for sure. Jeff, let me come to you first here with this one. Are you going to fade Tank or are you going to follow me?
Well, the age-old complaint about Mike Evans is that he has a low catch rate. And I hate that complaint about Mike Evans because, of course, he has a low catch rate. He's targeted heavily down the field. That's just the way it is. He's not getting those Michael Thomas targets. And in that last game, Brad, you mentioned 3 catches on 9 targets. He was targeted on average 16.1 yards downfield. Those are some big boy downfield targets right there. So I can't blame him on that. And I don't think that's going anywhere on the season here. 14.2 for Evans. That's including the playoffs. So heavy downfield to me doesn't translate to high volume. I agree with Brad, anytime touchdown, but I also agree with Brad that I'm not going to play this. Now, that being said, I'm also not playing the under. I think this line is perfect. Ooh. It's a no play for me, so I'm going to fade you, Tank.
Oh, man, he's going to straddle the fence on us. That's what he's going to do.
No
All
play,
right.
Baby.
All right, Elliot, tap into that Chiefs hat there. Is your team going to be playing some defense? You going to fade or follow Tank?
I don't know if it's my team as much as I just look amazing in red hats. Actually, I want to be super careful about that Chiefs hats. But in general, I'm actually fading him as well, which doesn't make me feel great that we're all of us are against Tank here, right? But I think my issue with Evans is that the Chiefs really take away the deep ball. It's what they did with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen last week. They make you beat them consistently. They play Spags has a great defensive system. Thornhill is a huge safety for them, and they really force you to go underneath. And like Jeff said, that high ADOT makes me nervous. Ultimately, I think the best way to bet Mike Evans is on DraftKings Sportsbook right now with their odds boost. They have it at 4-1 that Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans all go over 55 yards. Hill and Kelce are going over 55 yards unless they get injured. Chris Godwin's line is as high as 77.5. So at that point, I'm confident in all 3 of those guys. I'd rather take Mike Evans in that way. I get 4-1 because if he does get 5 catches, he's going over 55 yards because they're going to be downfield catches. So I'd rather get it at plus 400 that way to get a little creative with it, because I think there are lots of ways where he can have the volume, but the way the Chiefs take away the deep ball, it doesn't necessarily equal catches. So that's the way I'd rather attack Mike Evans in this one.
I tell you what, no lie, guys. I'm going to throw a hundy on that bet that Elliot just threw out there. That odds boost is ridiculous. 55 yards, that's all the threshold is? And you're right. That's just like, will Mike Evans get the double nickel? Because everybody else is going to smash the over on this. And I'm going to, make 4 of these in return based on the plus 400 odds boost that DraftKings has got out there. So, Tank, Godspeed to you on Mike Evans and the receptions, though I do like the anytime touchdown. Tank,
I'll collect our side bets after Sunday.
Oh, listen, there's going to be ridiculous side action. Tank's going to be hitting me up via text all weekend long. There's going to be quite the pool in the end here, including steak dinners and massages and everything else. And I'll let your mind wander on the explicit details there. But Tank, before we get out of here, your Yahoo Sports, you got a Super Bowl show coming up. Also, tell the good people where to find you on social media because you're a tremendous follow.
I know I'm a tremendous follower, but I've been a hermit lately. But you can follow me at Tank Williams 13, whether it's on Twitter, on IG, and I promise that I'll probably resurface after the Super Bowl. But I've been kind of laying low, just kind of doing my thing in the depths for now. But I'll be back with some ignorance here soon. Just wait for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think Jamal Lewis is following him. I don't think Corey Dillon follows him on Twitter either, because for Tank it would give him nightmares if those guys were still running around. It still haunts him to this day, waking up in cold sweats. Tank, thanks for joining us. Take it to the bank, whether or not you faded or follow on his selections. Check him out on social media, and be right back here on the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. Welcome back to the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. Unfortunately, Elliot Chris is still clothed. I am Brad Evans, Elliot Chris there, the Chiefs half, and of course, the wonderful and talented Jeff Ratcliffe, a man who is he is the Undertaker. He's the Undertaker of all Undertakers, to be honest with you, whether in the ring or in the sports betting universe. Gentlemen, let's get a little wild and wacky here. Let's get crazy with the cheese whiz, as Beck would say. And let's go to some novelty props. A lot of people like to bet on the national anthem. There are morons out there laying like 5 G's on the coin flip. I saw this. It's an actual wager. Somebody at BetMGM put $5,000 on tails. Like, why? Why are you going to do that with your money, man? Anyway, there's no advantage here at all. It's just, complete happenstance and chance, but they're just like, hey, I'm Two-Face from Batman. I'm just going to flip the coin. We're going to see where it lands. And they're betting heavy, 5,000. I need that kind of disposable income. I just want to throw that out there right now. If I had $5,000 to blow, 100% would do it on heads or tails, but I do not. Elliot Chris, however, does, and I'm sure he's going to be firing off on that wager at some point. So let's dive into some of these novelty props, some of the ones that are on the fringes that are a little bit crazy by the standard fare. Elliot, let me start with you. What is your favorite novelty prop that you have unearthed so far across the legal sports books?
Yeah, let me first say that I'm not betting $5,000 on the coin toss. I need to make that super clear. That is a true 50-50 probability. I don't care if tails never fails. Sounds great. It doesn't mean anything. And you're laying minus 105 on something that's legit 50%. So do not bet on the coin toss. Bet your friend on the coin toss and make it even money. That's the only way it makes even a little bit of sense. My favorite novelty prop, I'm gonna go a little bit off the board here, is Bucks first team to challenge. What? But the Chiefs challenged the fewest amount of plays this year with a grand total of 1. Even when Tyreek Hill caught the touchdown on Sunday Night Football against the Broncos, they didn't challenge it. Andy Reid also is known. Yeah, I lost a lot of money on that play. Could have won a lot on that one. Yeah, but the Andy Reid is known for blowing timeouts early. He's known for misusing them. That's one of his flaws, and they don't challenge plays. So while the Bucks only challenge 5, that's still 5 times the rate, and I'm getting even money on this. Now, obviously, a challenge is a little tricky. You don't know how the plays go, but give me the coach that has challenged over the last 2 years at 5 times the clip of the other one at minus 110. So first team to challenge Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, I like it. Jeff, I don't think you were going to be throwing the red flag out, though you wish that would have happened with the Tyreek Hill TD, because obviously you harbor some bitterness still in regards to that play. But what's your novelty prop?
The catch that wasn't a catch that was a catch. Even he didn't think it was a catch. That's still, man. Ugh. But yeah, I don't do a lot of these novelty props, so I just put a couple in for fun for this game because, we're going to be heavily loaded on player props. But one that did stand out to me, a lead change in the second quarter at plus 175 on DraftKings. The Bucs have had lead changes in the second quarter in each of their last two games. And the Chiefs, of course, had that pivotal lead change against the Bills. It's a silly one. There's nothing to that trend. That is not analysis whatsoever. But I do think there's going to be a little bit of a back and forth here. And it could be one of those scenarios. We've seen it with the Chiefs before this season where they get out a little slow. As our FTN colleagues will say, play with their food a little bit. And then boom, lay the hammer down in the second quarter. This is a team that could easily put up 21 points in a quarter. So I do think that happens after you shake off the nerves a little bit. And I'll take it at plus 175.
Yeah, I'm one that swirls the mashed potatoes on the plate. I'll be honest with you there, Jeff. This one has I have no logic. I have no evidence. I have no stats to back this up. This is just pure BS pulled out of the old keister here. Willie doink happen. Any kind of doink. Could be on an extra point, could be on a field goal attempt, any doink. Even it's just like grazing the crossbar, that counts as a doink. All right, if you can prove it, and they can, state in the broadcast, if it does happen, right now at DraftKings Sportsbook is plus 375. I'm in. There's an inner Cody Parkey in one of these kickers. Harrison Butker's missed like a ton of extra points this season. Ryan Suckup has a name that would kind of lead you to a path of, well, he sucks, so, there's a good chance that he's going to strike the crossbar or the upright in some way. A doink is going to happen, damn it. And that's why I'm laying the plus 375 on that. Hell, you know what? I may even fire off an Uncle Benji on it. Why not? It's the last football game of the year. I'm losing money in college basketball. I'm losing money in the NBA. Should be tailing Jeff's picks. But maybe this one I'll get it all back on the doink at plus 375. So there you go. There's your random, ridiculous, nonsensical novelty props for Super Bowl 55. We're going to take a little break here on the program, educate you in the process, because that's what we do with our babies. It's what we do with all of our FTN followers. And we come back. Sarah Perman's going to make the screen look good, and she's going to educate us all on her player prop selections with her pearls of wisdom. You don't want to miss it. And we're going to fade her follower on her selections as well. And she may need a code too. We're not really sure, but you'll understand why. Here on the flip side, we'll be right back on FTN and our Super Bowl extravaganza. Welcome back to the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. Elliot Christ wearing the Kansas City Chiefs hat, so you know where his lean is. Jeff Ratcliffe, a Philadelphia guy at heart, though he's disowned the Eagles for years. I'm a Bears guy, and I've absolutely disowned the Bears because Ryan Pace is a raging nincompoop. But we have the lovely, the talented, one of the queens, really, truly, one of the queens of the sports betting universe, my good friend, Sarah Perlman, who's all over the place. She's doing stuff for Fox. She's been doing some stuff with Intercom and my guy, Eli Herskovich, Joe Ostrowski and company over there, formerly of NBC. She used to cover the Baltimore Orioles back in the day. And she's in Florida, and apparently she's chilly. Very, very chilly. And I'm here in Denver, and I'm like, it's cold outside. Jeff and Elliot were digging out of, I don't know, an absolute blizzard, a raging nor'easter. And Sarah's down here like, oh, guys, it's like 50 out. It's in the 40s. I'm cold. Okay. I'm really cold.
I'm going to stop you there because to be fair, for Florida, it's cold. I know I can't complain. You guys chose where you live. But for Florida, it is cold. When it hits 40 degrees, the wind chill here, whatever it is, I'm telling you, it hits different.
Unfortunately, it's not a beach day for the fine residents in the Sunshine State, and somehow they will survive. But today is a day they actually had to turn on the heat. So there you go. And I'm going to tell you right now, Sarah's going to bring some fire because we got a segment for her called Pearls of Wisdom. Again, she's one of the sharpest people in the industry. So, Sarah, side, total, prop, Super Bowl 55, fire away with that pearl of wisdom.
Okay, I'm honestly fired up for the game, and it was, tough kind of going through my favorite props, getting ready to give them to you guys. So the first one right off the bat is Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns. It's around -133. That's the best number right now. I love this. There's a really high total in the game for a reason, 56.5. A lot of touchdowns are going to happen during this game. I think if you look at the way the Chiefs play and the way they're going to be able to go against the top league's best rush defense, they're going to throw the ball. And why not when you have the best quarterback and some of the best receivers and the tight end in the game? So for me, I think if you look at week 12, he threw for 462 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has thrown 3 touchdowns in 5 of his last 10 games. So I think this is an easy one. I love this. I don't think they're going to run the ball. So play to their strength. That's going to throw the ball. So give me Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns, anywhere around -133, Brad.
100% follow you on this one. The actual first wager I made on this game, and full disclosure, I've got 17 bets locked in. I might have a problem. And there's going to be more. It's probably going to be like 30 to 35 by the time the tequila hits the system and the final bet is off the board in the second half. But I'm with you here. This was the first bet I wagered on the over. I got it at -130 at DraftKings Sportsbook, but really good about it. This has got to be a pew, pew, pew shootout affair, no doubt. And we know the weakness of Tampa, right? We've seen this unfold before, this scheme, and that is sit back in the pocket with your generational arm and just surgically dissect it. And Carlton Davis is a man that's going to be in the crosshairs early and often. They're going to be picking on him, working out of the slot, and really across the board. It's all about whether or not Mahomes can be protected with the offensive line issues there. We know that Tampa Bay is going to be bringing the heat. They were top 3 in pressure percentage in the regular season. But I'm 100% with you. I'm following your coattails on this one. I think this is pretty close to the L word. I'm not going to put it out there. I don't want to jinx us, Sarah. But I'm feeling good. It's going to be at least 3 touchdown passes for Patty Mahomes. Mr. Ratcliffe, I'm going to come to you. You going to fade or follow the wonderful Sarah Perlman?
Brad, if you have a problem, I don't know what I have. Weekly, I would put in 250 plus bets. I'm going to have easily well over 50 bets on this game.
Wow.
And that's not including NBA. But you mentioned the pass rush. The pass rush here, hey, Shaq Barrett, phenomenal. And I love the Jim Nance, like a coverage Shaq. He like flubbed it, but that should be a thing with Shaq Barrett. Regardless, he led the league in total pressures. Disruption is production, and he's going to be in his face. But what I think about this line, I think this line is perfect, actually. 2.5 is right where I'm projecting him. And if this was 2.5 at +100, 2.5 at +120, I would take it. But I just don't want to pay the juice on this one because it is a perfect line. So this is another one. Now I'm going to have a lot of bets in play, but this is actually a no play for me because of how perfect the line is.
Oh, the Undertaker strikes again, Sarah, with Jeff Ratcliffe taking the under on the 2.5.
It always makes me feel better when everyone's not in agreement, though. Like the second it's a clean sweep, I'm like, it's not coming
we're
home.
All screwed. We're
Run
done.
away and quick. Save your money. It's not hitting. So you know what?
Yeah.
Jeff, I appreciate you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you too, Jeff. What about Elliott? Let's see where he stands on this one. Fade or follow Sarah's overplay 2.5 passing touchdowns on maybe the Super Bowl MVP this year.
See, I'm a little upset because I just checked and I realized that I have 18 bets right now. So I was able to story top you, and then now Jeff rolls in with 50, and now I'm just, I'm just some part-time guy who barely bets. But I like the over here. I think Sarah's point about the fact that the Bucs are the number 1 rush defense in the NFL. They allow the fewest rush attempts in the NFL against them. The Chiefs don't really throw inside the 5-yard line. The Bucs cannot cover the slot, and they cannot cover tight ends. That's trouble when those guys are Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Now, ultimately, I do think the Bucs win this game, despite the fact that I'm wearing a Chiefs hat. I just don't own a Bucs hat. But for me, it's a situation where you look at a Chiefs team that has a team total of 30.5 points. That's over 4 touchdowns. Now, obviously, it's right around 3.5 because field goals and everything like that. But I think these teams are going to be aggressive on fourth down. I don't think either one of them counts on their defense stopping the other. And I think you're going to see Patrick Mahomes throw a lot inside that 5-yard line, 10-yard line. So I like the over 2.5. I agree with Jeff. I wish it was closer to minus 115, minus 120, because 3 touchdowns is a large output. But it's Patrick Mahomes. There's levels to this stuff, right? And he's at the very top. So give me Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 touchdowns. I do think that he throws for 3 in this game, though I do think the Bucs ultimately win this game.
All right, a little bit of a mixed bag there, Sarah, on Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 touchdowns there, minus 133 juice. Again, the best number that we've seen with the FTN bets /prop-shop. That one's at BetMGM. But let's stick with the Kansas City theme here, because you want to talk about a running back, and it's not the once highly touted rookie out of LSU. It's somebody else that's kind of emerged here. So give me another pearl of wisdom.
Well, first off, Elliot, I want to get you a Bucks hat because I'm really confused about you wearing a Chiefs hat, but you like the Bucks. So if I hit this
reverse
bet,
psychology, Sarah, reverse psychology.
If I hit this bet, I'm going to
Is this better? Is this better? Is this a Super Bowl hat? Is this a Super Bowl hat?
Much better.
It's not better.
Woo. Yes, to get back to the prop, I love this prop. I know I felt confident about my first pearl of wisdom. I love this second one. Let's look at Darrell Williams and his rushing prop. It opened at 34.5 in most books. Now it's sitting at 29.5. That's the best number at minus 115. I'm going to take the under. I just talked about why I think the Chiefs are going to throw the ball. We're all in agreement. You're looking at the Bucs' #1 rush defense in the league all season long. So because of that alone, why is Kansas City going to run the ball? Well, they're probably not. And secondly, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is healthy. And I think when you looked at when he was healthy, Darrell Williams did not have a single game with more than 10 carries. That's a fact throughout the season. The last 2 games, of course, it's a playoff push. I understand that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire not fully healthy. Not to mention, you're looking at Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher. They're dealing with injuries, of course, not playing. You might have a guy like Darrell Williams kind of standing in as a pass protector. So that may occur, but the under for his rushing yards, we're not using the L word. I get that, but I will say a different L word. I love this prop. Darrell Williams, under 29.5 rushing yards. Lay the juice. I love this one as well.
Yeah, well, I thought there was going to be an entirely different L word there. Maybe loquacious, something like that.
Yes.
And maybe Darrell Williams could be a lump in that backfield. I'm going to follow you on this one. And I actually, piggybacking on your logic with Darrell Williams, I think it also applies to CEH, right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I locked in his under, which is almost identical. This is at 29.5 at FanDuel right now. I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire at DraftKings when the lines open on the under 30.5 rush yards, because you can't run on Tampa because of one dude, Vita Vea. Vita Vea is a monster in the trenches. A guy had one of the highest run stop percentage rates in the NFL regular season. He's back. He's healthy, knocked off the dust, returning from the injury. He's a man-eater there in the trenches, and it's going to be tough sledding for either one of these running backs, though Darrell Williams has really outperformed CEH here, the last couple of weeks. Last week CEH on the field, I thought Williams just looked better. He had 67% of the opportunity share, but you can't run on Tampa, as Sarah said. In the regular season, they gave it just 3.6 yards per carry and really just largely contained everyone for much of the year. So, Ellie, let me come back to you, Chiefs #1 fan. Darrell Williams, you going to fade or follow Miss Perlman on her under 29.5 rush yards?
I'm very, very much with her on this one. I got it at 36.5 early in the week, which I feel phenomenal at.
Yeah.
I've seen his carry prop at 8.5 with the under at minus 270, which means the books are not expecting a lot of volume. So we're talking about a guy that has to be extremely efficient. You guys mentioned CEH, and I think that's very valuable. And I think Darrell Williams is much more the pass catching back at this point too. Le'Veon Bell's going to play. He might not play much, but anytime a running back's not on the field, he can't get yards. I know Jeff likes to make fun of me when I say that because it's so basic, but it's legit. Snap share is so important for these guys to hit their overs because efficiency is difficult, especially against this Bucs front. You mentioned Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh, still a grown man down there. Shaq Barrett, JPP, no Eric Fisher, no Mitchell Schwartz. The Chiefs probably came into the year with a top 5 tackle group, and now they probably have the worst tackle group in the NFL going into the Super Bowl. That's something that's not talked about enough. I don't think he's going to get that much volume, probably 5-6 carries. I'm not taking him at 5 yards a carry against the best rush defense in the NFL. This number was too high at 36. It's too high at 29. I would have it closer to 22. He's going to split time. And to your point on CEH, I think CEH under 18.5 receiving yards over there at FanDuel is another good bet because he's not in that pass catching role now either. So I really like taking the Chiefs running back unders in this game.
Undertaker, you digging another grave?
Well, I have a contrarian view on this. I really don't think that the books are on with that line, actually, because, how do you defeat a really good run defense? You get fresh legs out there. And how many times have we seen it? We saw a guy with the last name of Williams with fresh legs for the Chiefs last year. It happens all the time. Like, I harken back to the days of James Starks. You get a hot running back down the stretch, 13 carries in each of the last 2 games for them. And I agree with Brad. He has looked pretty good. Now, of course, I've also said all season long this is the best run defense out there. But I actually have him at 9 carries in this game. So 9 carries, you're talking like, 3.7 or so just to get you to this line, which I think is doable. This is another one for me. I hate to say it, but it's kind of a perfect line. I really don't want to play this one because I do think it's a 50-50 split with the CEH and Darrell Williams. Keep the fresh legs in there. Keep it moving. Andy Reid, of course, wants to get the running backs involved. We'll see the tiniest little bit of Lev Bell as well. But obviously, hey, he said it himself, I don't want to play. I just went to a team I knew I wasn't going to get any carries on. But, I'm not going to play this one. So I am going to fade Sarah, but I'm not actually playing on either side.
I think mentally, Le'Veon Bell is riding jet skis in Miami again anyway.
For sure.
No doubt about it. Perlman, I know you got to run to turn up the thermostat. So before we let you go, please promote whatever you got going on. Tell the fine folks out there in sports betting land where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, just at Sarah Perlman. And then I will be on Fox Sports Talk the Line this Sunday, getting you ready for the Super Bowl. It's going to be an hour-long prop special, so you definitely want to watch that. Myself, Jeff Schwartz, and Jason McIntyre. And then also on Sunday morning, 8 to 10 Eastern, I'll be on Entercom with Nick Costos. We'll be doing our BetQL show leading up for the Super Bowl on radio stations across the country. So you can also stream that on radio.com, so you could watch and follow any of those. But for now, I hope these 2 props I just gave out come home.
Yeah, Nick and I are very sheepish fellows. I can tell you that much right now. Enjoy the Super Bowl, madame, and please layer up.
You too.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Whatever. Have fun on your snowstorm. Thanks, guys.
All right, the great Sarah Perlman. We'll be right back here on the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. Welcome back to the FTN Super Bowl Spectacular. Brad Evans, Elliot Chris, Jeff Ratcliffe here at your service. And it's time to a little rapid fire Rambo style here with all of our favorite picks that we haven't discussed yet. Jeff apparently has, I think, at least a baker's dozen from my knowledge. I don't know if he's parlayed them all together. I mean, listen, if you're really a man, Jeff, you would parlay all these together. But Elliot's got a few. I've got some others as well, maybe working some bonus time. But Jeff, you're batting leadoff. You're a Juan Pierre here. I don't know why he's always my go-to guy when talking leadoff. It's probably an insult to you, but by all means, amigo, please give us your rapid fire selections here in Super Bowl 55.
Well, I did run track in college, so a little bit fast. I mean, but not
Tyreek Hill fast?
No, sir.
Were you an anchor leg? Like, what were you running in college?
I actually ran long and triple. I jumped, so I did do. I ran the sprints at the high school level, but yeah, long and triple jumps. So no, you gotta have a little bit of speed, but I was more of a technician. All right. Anyway, so let's go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the under 18.5 receiving yards. You heard Elliot actually say that earlier in the broadcast. I love this. He has just 1 catch in 4 of his last 5 games. Has only topped this line twice in his last 9 games. So under on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 18.5 receiving yards. I'll go a little defense. I had some people asking for tackle props. So here we go. Sean Murphy Bunting. Oh, baby. Yes. 4.5 tackles. Let's go over. Not taking it under on this one. Minus
right.
108 on DraftKings. He topped this line in 7 of the last 9 games. He had 5 tackles back in week 12. I expect him to tackle Chris Godwin 5 times in this game. I got 2 bonuses for you. Byron Pringle, anytime touchdown plus 400 on DraftKings. Why Byron Pringle? Because if you paid attention in the conference championship round, he ran as many routes or as many snaps he was on the field for as Tyreek Hill. Didn't run as many routes as him, but he ran more routes than Demarcus Robinson and significantly more routes than McCole Hardman with Sammy Watkins banged up. I like that plus 400 on Pringle. And one last one, Bashaud Breeland, interception plus 575 on DraftKings. He's picked off Tom Brady in each of the last 2 games he's faced him. He picked him off in week 12. He picked him off last year in the regular season when Brady was still on the Patriots. So there you go.
Following the trend there with Bashaud Breeland, I like that, especially at the long odds there. That's worth a ticket for sure. Mr. Chief, guy that is sure to be, you would hire Eric Bieniemy like yesterday. I know you would have.
Yeah.
Absolutely would have. Like all of us would have, because we're sensible football fans. But enlighten us with your rapid fire plays.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I love what Jeff's doing. I think he's made a lot of really good points. For me, I got 2. I've talked about Chris Godwin, but I'm just going to say I'm flat out betting Chris Godwin without trying to get 63-1, without trying to get 6-1. Just give me Chris Godwin. Give me the slot receiver against the Kansas City Chiefs over 73.5 yards. You look at games where Tom Brady has thrown for over 250 yards. We talked about we like him for 300, averaging 87 yards. So I really like Brady and Godwin's success is really correlated. I think they're going to throw a lot. Chris Godwin over 73.5 yards. The next one for us is first TD under jersey number under 24.5 minus 103. Listen, we want to get fun with these, so I'm going to get a little fun. Jeff did a defensive player. I'm going to do jersey numbers for touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all under 24. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, all under 24. We're really worried about guys like Leonard Fournette, specifically Travis Kelce. But if Travis Kelce gets that first